right, so we're here talking with Chris Dietrich, who has probably the coolest job as far as a geek goes. So Chris, why don't you explain to us a little bit about what we're talking about?
Well, it's a part-time job that I just recently started this last fall, 2009. I'm doing an after-school program for kids near where I live, running Dungeons and Dragons for a group of 10 and 11-year-olds.
Way cool.
Right. How did you manage to land that game?
Well, I live in Ithaca, New York, and my wife and I go to the Cornell Gaming Club.
All right.
And a woman who worked for the Cooperative Extension doing community programs for Cornell, she found out that some of the boys locally that she was working with had an interest in Dungeons and Dragons. So she just contacted the gaming group knowing nothing about role-playing games and just said, is there anyone who would like to do this? She decided to go with the first person who responded, and of course I was the sixth. But I happened to be the one that asked a bunch of questions. I was curious what sorts of educational aspects she wants to stress, like does she want to focus on math, problem solving, history, what does she want to do with this? And she was like, I don't know what I want to do with it, but that all sounds great. So if we do this again, we'll definitely get in touch with you. Unfortunately, because of some personal issues, the person who originally got the job didn't get to do it. So that let me just, as sort of a part-time job, a few hours a week, only getting paid for the time actually at the table, of course, not the stupid amounts of time that my wife complains about me spending away from the table. Not that she's not also an obsessive gamer, but just I'm extra obsessive on this one. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got doing it, and I've been having a ball. The kids seem to be having a lot of fun, and it's just been great.
All right, two-part question. Number one, how long have you been playing D&D? And number two, what's it like working with kids who have grown up in this environment of entertainment and video games as they are now compared to what it was like for you when you started playing D&D?
Okay, how long have I been playing D&D? I first started playing D&D late junior high, early high school, back with the old Rule Cyclopedia era. And most of my gaming has been everything except D&D. The closest to really running D&D in my adult life that I had was I ran Hackmaster for a year and a half, which uses pretty much the same system as 2nd edition. As far as running the game for these guys, they've just, all of them have been continually impressing me all the way along. It's just been really cool. One of the first things that happened, first session, I just said, I've got an idea for the campaign. Is this idea okay with you? I'm setting it in ancient Rome. And the other question was, what edition do you want to play with? Some of them had played 3.5, some of them had never played Dungeons and Dragons before. Sorry about the walk and talk. And they basically told me, not 4th edition. Which for me was very amusing because I know a lot of people like 4th edition. Personally, I was hoping that I wouldn't have to learn a whole new edition, and I have some things that I heard negatively about it, but that's neither here nor there. They just didn't want 4th edition. So ultimately what ended up happening is, I hope you can hear me, I ran a bunch of editions past them, and they actually picked 2nd edition. So, of their own free will, I might add. So, for all the people that hate THAC0, I got a group of 10 and 11-year-olds that voluntarily stepped into it.
Okay. All right, thanks very much for your time. Chris Dietrich, living the dream.
Thank you, sir.
How you doing?